All right. So, got a lot of complaints about my quality yesterday, so we turned the mic up. Hopefully, that's cutting through. And I turned the internal sound down 1 dB. Yeah, this should be good. If this doesn't work, then I can record in a separate file. I can record in just a sound program and then we'll mix them later. We'll just add it on top of this, double up the vocals. So my vocals will be recording simultaneously through this into like a music program. All right. So this is what everybody wanted me to watch. It's Ren. His fans are awesome and very passionate. And I'm lucky that they descended upon my channel yesterday and blew me up. I really appreciate it. And yeah, they're all really nice. Thank you guys. Oh, it's still my dirty work shirt. That's okay. Oh, all right.
I want to keep this short and sweet because I wrote something that I want to share with you. But first of all, I just want to say how grateful I am. I've reached 1 million subscribers on YouTube, which is a flipping huge milestone. I wanted to say thank you to everyone who supported my music over the years, whether you're newly on board or have been here for a while. I wanted to say thank you to the YouTube reaction community who have gotten behind my stuff in a big way and really helped me reach this goal. So thank you guys. Yeah, I wanted to read this passage that I wrote about success. It's too much for me to remember right now, so bear with me. But
wow, this
yeah, success to me means that I have a responsibility that transcends me.
This is only 5 months old. He just recently hit 1,000. Awesome. No wonder why you guys are so passionate still. He's still on the road. I thought that he was big for a while. All right, let's get it.
Passages that I wrote about success. It's too much for me to remember right now, so bear with me. But yeah, success to me means that I have a responsibility that transcends me. If I have a platform where people are paying attention, then I feel like it's my duty to make that count. It's far more important than my aspirations with music and what I could personally gain. There's a saying that stuck with me recently, which was a rising tide lifts all ships. Somehow, by finding success for myself has meant that I can find success for the people around me.
Very genuine off the top. You can just like feel the sincerity in his voice.
There's a saying that stuck with me recently, which was a rising tide lifts all ships. Somehow, by finding success for myself has meant that I can find success for the people around me, and that makes me feel very rich. I'm in a very strange position right now where I owe much of my success to the most destructive force in my life, which has been the turbulence of my physical and mental illness. The thing that has by far brought me the most pain has been a source of constant inspiration, which ironically led to creations which brought me the most joy. Creating art which means something to somebody else and can potentially be...
Wow, that's powerful, isn't it? The things that brought me the most pain, ironically, made me create the art that brought me the most joy. That reminds me of a line in a Dex that Can't Catch the Rain song. He said that his best songs are a compilation of his worst, most painful moments in life.
constant inspiration, which ironically led to creations which brought me the most joy. Creating art which means something to somebody else and can potentially be a companion to somebody else in the dark justifies my own pain, and I desperately needed that to be justified. There are a lot of people alive today who live in the dark. Companion to somebody else in the dark led to creations which brought me the most joy. Creating art which means something to somebody else and can potentially be a companion to somebody else in the dark justifies my own pain, and I desperately needed that to be justified. There are a lot of people alive today who...
That is what it's like, isn't it? I've heard music called a drug that makes you feel a way that you would rather feel, which I think is only accurate some of the times, because there's a lot of sad songs and nobody necessarily wants to feel sad, but you feel the power and energy from them, I guess.
Who live and be a companion to somebody else in the dark.
But I guess you're a song can be comforting. I guess a comforting song is making you feel a way that you would rather feel. For sure. You identify with it. You feel like you're not alone. I dig it.
justifies my own pain, and I desperately needed that to be justified. There are a lot of people alive today who live in the dark. It's a place that I'm very familiar with. In the peak of my health problems, I was severely underweight. All my meals had to be restricted and blended, and I was so tired that I couldn't participate in life. I couldn't socialize, I couldn't watch films, I couldn't read. My bones constantly hurt.
He couldn't socialize. I wonder what he means by that. Like, literally couldn't talk? Or he was so depressed he couldn't carry on a conversation without just drowning in his own pain, and he'd rather just didn't know how to pull himself out of his own mind. I'm interested exactly what he means by that.
Even standing and be restricted and blended, and I was so tired that I couldn't participate in life. I couldn't socialize, I couldn't watch films, I couldn't read. My bones constantly hurt. Even standing in the shower was excruciating and exhausting. And this went on for years, with no answers. Nobody could have ever convinced me during that time that my pain and suffering would be a source for something good, because it felt insidious. Nobody could have ever convinced me.
He's choking up. I can feel it. Because it felt insidious. What a descriptive, powerful word.
During that time that my pain and suffering would be a source for something good, because it felt insidious. Nobody could have ever convinced me.
Face. He the way he said insidious, you see his face scrunch up like he feels the pain still just thinking about it.
That something constructive can come from hurting every day. But I'm here to tell you that if you are hurting every day, don't be afraid. One thing I know to be a certain, to be a constant law of the universe, is that life is inconsistent. Life is beautiful.
One thing's for certain is nothing's for sure, basically. I love that saying. How did he say it? His was a bit more poetic.
Don't be afraid. One thing I know to be a certain, to be a constant law of the universe, is that life is...
That's powerful. A constant law of the universe.
Inconsistent.
Life isn't consistent. It's true. Has anyone here ever had their entire life change overnight? Like, overnight, whether it be having to take a child from a family member who was dealing with something, I don't know, even if all of a sudden you lose your job, if you're really, yet that's your identity, that can be devastating. And you don't know what to do with your free time.
Life is beautiful and life is hideous. Life is kind and life is cruel. Dancing inside this dichotomy and inconsistency makes me know that you won't hurt forever. Whether that comes from resolution of what you're going through or acceptance of where...
Well, his pen is ill, even when he's talking regular. Dancing with this dichotomy.
Dancing inside this dichotomy and inconsistency makes me know that you won't hurt forever. Whether that comes from resolution of what you're going through or acceptance of where you are. You won't hurt forever. You don't know yet whether or not your pain conceals gold. It definitely conceals wisdom, and it's definitely a catalyst for filling you with empathy. So stand strong, my friends, and don't let the darkness consume you, because once you know the dark and become intimate with it, you become very capable of wielding the light. You could be instrumental for changing this world for the better. There's nothing humble about shrinking or doubting yourself because you are large. You can be ferocious and you could be magnificent. For the medical industry, who too often let people fall through the cracks, it's your duty to do better. For the people living in the light, who have either stepped out of their shadow or have never had to walk beside it, it's your responsibility to put out untainted love. Our own greed, desire to ferociously expand, and decisions rooted in...
I'm dating a woman that's originally from a country in Africa. And today, when I told her that I was in a mental health program that my insurance offered me so I can just, better myself, she asked me, why? what are they gonna fix? And I couldn't explain to her. I was like, I'm not the type of person that goes in there and talks about my past and what happened. They more so build me skills on to be constructive towards my future and things like that. And she said to me, Americans are so spoiled. And I don't know. It's just, I guess we are very fortunate to even be able to do that. Because some places mental health is not a thing. It's just not a thing.
In self, never had to walk beside it. It's your responsibility to put out untainted love. Our own greed, desire to ferociously expand, and decisions rooted in self-interest can benefit ourselves in a material sense, but can be very destructive. Love. Better.
Sorry, guys.
For the people living in the light, who have either stepped out of their shadow or have never had to walk beside it, it's your responsibility to put out untainted love. Our own greed, desire to ferociously expand, and decisions rooted in self-interest can benefit ourselves in a material sense.
Untainted love. That might not seem too complex to some people, but have you ever been in a dysfunctional family or a toxic relationship? And it's just part of your life. You can't get away from them, and you love them. You can't cut them off. Well, I guess if they're a partner, you can, but it's really hard to give untainted love when you're full of resentment and dealing with your own pain.
Put out untainted love. Our own greed, desire to ferociously expand, and decisions rooted in self-interest can benefit ourselves in a material sense, but can be very destructive to the hive and the world around us, ultimately hurting ourselves. So we really must consider that if we're going to step into a bright future. As humans, we have an incredible potential, and it would be a shame to throw it away. So community, humanity, and changing our relationship with the natural world so it leans more towards homeostasis must be a priority. Priority number one.
Okay, what's homeostasis, guys? I gotta look this up. Is this gonna embarrass me? I'll just assume that it's a natural state.
If you're watching this and there's a knot tied up in your stomach with bitterness, anger, or hatred...
Look when he says the things like that, you see his face knot up. It's like when he talks about it, it immediately brings him back to that pain, that trauma. Can relate.
For your fellow human being, be with it, feel it, understand it, express it, and then let it go. You're hurting. Give yourself love, forgive yourself, and then project that love outwards, and the anger will pass. We have a decision in every interaction to tilt the world towards heaven or hell, towards Jannah or Jahannam, utopia or dystopia, and some people's ideas of heaven will be another's image of hell. So tread carefully, but treat those differences with respect.
That's a more profound way of saying one man's trash is another man's treasure, isn't it?
Jahannam, utopia or dystopia, and some people's ideas of heaven will be another's image of hell. So tread carefully, but treat those differences with respect. Tapestries are made beautiful because...
But treat those differences with respect. Hell yeah. That comes with people's, just what they want to do with their lives. If someone wants to be super ambitious or someone just wants to get a 9-to-5, whatever, don't judge them. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's see, what else can that apply to? Obviously, religion, sexuality, political views, applicable to all these, and all these can cause great divides in relationship.
The variety in the sum of their parts. Ideas of heaven will be another's image of hell. So tread carefully, but treat those differences with respect. Tapestries are made beautiful because the variety in the sum of their parts.
I didn't catch that before. Tapestries are made beautiful because of the variety and the sum of their parts. Yeah, dude is a very eloquent speaker.
Thank you to 1 million people inside this rich tapestry for the opportunity for me to try and spread my own vision of what I believe to be good. And thank you for justifying my pain. Thank you. I love you.
Oh, man. He said, I love you. I think he's telling the truth, guys. Yeah, you guys told me to watch that, and everyone said this is why you guys love him so much. I'm assuming that it's more than that, but that is the core of his character and his art. So brilliantly honest and vulnerable. That's awesome. All right, guys. What do I do next? You guys told me to do this one next, and I'm not sure where to go for as far as music. Any other artists you guys would like to see besides Ren? Someone said Tom McDonald, um, and Adam Calhoun is one of them. I also like Dax a lot. He's a lot like um, Ren in some ways, in his vulnerable songs at least. But um, I covered one of his songs, and it didn't get much traction. We're gonna give it another shot with a couple though, because I really like his music. Um, anyways, thank you guys so much. Thanks for the support. Thanks for pointing me this direction, and let me know where you want me to go next. All right, gimmickless. I make music.